Hey guys, how are you doing? We are stranded out here with the weirdest bicycle defect. The front bearings just disappeared. I didn't even notice anything until just now. Got quite a bit of distance to cover on foot now. Oh well, at least we've got some spring weather going. Since it is so nice out, I think I'm going to delay the work that's waiting over here some more. I don't think I want to keep that huge yak laser cabinet in the garage much longer. So I would say we're going to give it a shot before it has to move out and give me my parking spot back. That entire system has originally been purchased by the University Oldenburg in 1980 for 60,000 Deutschmark. That includes the orange box behind it as well, which is interesting enough to deserve a separate look. So they probably had students work on this thing and didn't want any to get fried by the high voltage power supply. Now yours truly is no ordinary student anymore, so I think I can keep my fingers away from those multi-microfarad, multi-kilovolt caps, even without the help of these acrylic shields. So the thing is not packed densely at all. It's basically just an adjustable thyristor circuit that makes the big high voltage transformer's output voltage adjustable. And then there's a big liquid cooling system filled with a deliciously poisonous nitrite solution. The thing is this huge, but it still needs external control boxes. That switch is only for a mechanical shutter, I think. These are all the accessories that were included in the set. Spare flash lamps, all of the original documents, and a handwritten service notebook, including Polaroid oscilloscope screenshots. And this is sort of the main control box, with some switches, indicators, and hopefully manual control for everything. I didn't read any of the manuals yet, so I hope the old connector rule applies. Whichever fits is correct. This one looks like it might fit here, but not entirely sure. There is our deliciously poisonous nitrite solution. Why was that on? Okay, no idea what I'm supposed to do with the most convincing looking fake urine puddle I've ever seen. I hope that'll just disappear into the tiles rather quickly. Okay, here's the most precious part. 60 kilogram solid aluminium optical bench. That would just delete my front door and my apocalyptic emergency bottled water stash if I were to drop that, so better not. The lines running in this hose are cooling water, ground, flash lamp high voltage, mechanical shutter, interlock switches, and a Q switch, which wasn't called Q switch back in the days, but it can be understood as sort of an electronically controlled, very fast shutter. The idea being that you can place such a fast shutter right in the optical cavity, meaning between the mirrors and in series with the yak crystal. Without it, lasing would start slowly, with the first few spontaneous emission photons getting amplified by being bounced back and forth through the gain medium. With it in place, that premature bouncing can be prevented until the crystal has stored all the energy it can take. Then the Q switch can be opened abruptly to release all of the energy at once at maximum brutality, and for a burst that lasts only a few nanoseconds. In this big boy, the crystal and the flash lamp are inside this water-cooled ceramic housing. The optical cavity is a little bit longer, and the Q-switch seems to be operated by another high voltage source, instead of high frequency like the one I had on my desk just now. Interlock override. That sounds nice. After thorough investigation, I found out that interlock override only works for these door switches. That cavity hatch needs to be overridden the traditional way. Alright, that was a promising chunk. And now the high voltage control is also showing some activity. But no laser pulses just yet. The mechanical shutter also doesn't seem to make a big difference. It sounds a bit unhealthy. And now we did it. Congratulations, reps. Released the magic smoke on it. Oh, of course, it's one of those vintage, moisture-sensitive film caps. That's not such a big deal, but I think we are missing sort of an external clock source that ignites the flash lamp and opens the Q-switch a nanosecond later or so. Not sure if I want to go out of my way to revive this old dinosaur, honestly. As I already said in the last public video, this thing could be shrunk by a factor of 10 or 20, and even emerge with a higher peak pulse energy. Oh look, just got mail. What a coincidence. This is a broken Trump Vector Mark Compact. It's a diode-pumped solid-state laser source with a peak power of 0.5 megawatt. And it sure has the weight to back up such a crazy claim. I paid around €100 for this thing and I couldn't be happier about it. It's based on a fairly low power continuous wave fiber coupled pumping diode. And that seems to sit on some kind of integrated water cooling block, which may or may not have leaked in the past. On the rear we've got what is now an old acquaintance. A more modern variant of the Q-switch. This thing is not quite as complicated as the fiber laser we've deciphered in the past, but it's way more complicated than the old yak in the garage. One of many technologies setting the two apart is called Z-fold, in which the beam path is zigzagging through a two-dimensional plane. This thing goes one step further. It has a three-dimensional beam path, and I can't even follow it right now. Like, where's the gain medium? Surely not this tiny thing, right? Nothing particularly interesting under the other cover either. Maybe that cube over there. It takes some volume to store joules in. But by squeezing a tiny number of joules into an ultra-short nanosecond impulse, very high peak watts can be achieved. The 500 kilowatt peak that this thing claims sounds a bit absurd though, to be honest. We'll have to try that, I'm afraid. I haven't really researched how to talk to this thing yet. There are not only tantalum caps on the board, but also what might be water damage, a UV EEPROM, and a Dallas time bomb. Also no sign of a Q-switch driver anywhere. The coax cable is just cable tied up here. So a ton of stuff to do, but no time for it as always. I do have a Q-switch driver though, so this is going to be interesting.